Rishi Sunak is getting desperate to keep his job as Prime Minister, so he's now talking about the possibility of pulling out of the European Convention on Human Rights in order to sort out the illegal migration crisis. You know what I love? Until now, we've had a number of issues and topics that were always used as a political football by mainstream parties and politicians. One of them was always the NHS, the other stuff like pension policies that both the Labour Party and the Tory Party always used against each other. And that's why we never had actual stability in the system, because every few years the whole policy gets completely U-turned. Now, the recent stuff is now ECHR, illegal migration, the border crisis. Both Starmer and Rishi Sunak are talking a good game, saying, yes, we need to sort out the border crisis. But do they actually do it? Well, I know that the Conservatives are under pressure to actually do something about it, and there are definitely figures in the Conservative Party who want to sort it out. But the Labour Party is just not believable when Starmer says it. We know that Rishi Sunak is now under more pressure because some senior Tories are talking about changing the rules of the 1922 committee. We already reported this earlier today, in order to trigger another vote of no confidence and another leadership election. Seriously, every 10 minutes. It's becoming a seasonal thing. Every season, you're going to have a new prime minister and Tory leader. But because of that, they've now been briefing the papers and the media over the last couple of days to give us to throw some red meat, as they say, and all the right-wing populist policies that some people will be happy to hear. One of them is the possibility of pulling out of ECHR. That is a big obstacle when it comes to the illegal migration crisis. So the governments also are now saying that this legislation that they're putting through to fix the broader problem, if this legislation gets onto the statute book and is found to be lawful by our domestic court, but it is still being held up in Strasbourg, then we know the problem is not our legislation or our courts. Yeah, we could have told you that. It's been going on for years. They continue by saying that if that's the case, then of course he will be willing to reconsider whether being part of the ECHR is in the UK's long-term interests. If they make it sound like they've just discovered this as a new obstacle and problem. People have been talking about this for years. Even Liz Truss, when she was standing as a Tory leader candidate, she brought it up. Kemi Badenoch mentioned this, Suella Braverman mentioned it, saying that it's not sustainable, we have to leave it. But people like Jeremy Hunt and Rishi Sunak, until literally 5 minutes ago, they were convinced that ECHR is not the problem. But we can now add, as a topic, ECHR, to the list of Rishi Sunak's U-turns, which is, I think it's now reached 23 or 24 U-turns since he became Prime Minister just over 100 days ago. But do we actually believe him? Let me know, you guys in the comment section, if you actually believe what he's saying, because I can imagine the majority of people in the comment section would say, no, we don't believe a word that they are saying. But at the same time, we know that from history of the Tory party, when they get desperate, then they will just do whatever necessary to save their own position. Best example was David Cameron and George Osborne. Until 2014, they were against giving the referendum on the European question. But then 2015, in the manifesto, he put it in the manifesto in order to prevent the UKIP wave and Nigel Farage blocking the right-wing votes. But did they actually believe in it? No, because both Cameron and Osborne still campaigned for the Remain side. And they both didn't really have any backup plan in case the Brexit vote actually wins. So do we actually not only believe that he's going to do it, but even if he does manage to somehow put some sort of legislation to pull out of ECHR, will they be ready to have plans in place for the future? I'm going to say no. Let me know what you think. I'm Mahyar Tousi and we are the media.